So this is 5 days out of buccal fat pad removal. And this has been a very interesting experience for me, and it's definitely had a lot of emotional sort of impacts on me and my lifestyle that I wasn't expecting. So having done so many buccal fat pad removal procedures on other patients, I think I have a newfound perspective on this procedure, having undergone it myself. And I want to share that experience with you, because after I was done with my buccal fat pad removal procedure, I wanted to call everybody who had it done and said, how long does it take for this swelling to go down? It's 5 days now, and now I can finally go out without a compression garment on. I felt really kind of embarrassed and super swollen for the first 4 or 5 days. So what have I learned as being a patient? First of all, I did the procedure with just local anesthesia. Now, the surgeon who did the procedure does a lot more local than I do. I think he did about 25 cc's on this side and 20 cc's on this side. I usually do 6 cc's per side, so I had a lot more numbing, but I did not need any pain medication, and I did not need any relaxation medicine. Frankly, I was driving to Big Bear that night. So I didn't get any oral sedatives or anything, and it was a relatively painless procedure. Even sitting there for an hour and a half, which is a little bit longer than the procedure usually takes, because my procedure, I guess I don't have easily findable buccal fat pads. I thought I did. This side he only took out 1 cc, and this side he took out 2 cc's. On average, I take out about between 3 to 5 cc's per side, so it was a different experience. Now, what I learned on the other side of the drape was that when things are going well or not well, it's sometimes nice to hear feedback. How are things going? Because you really can't talk when your mouth is retracted open. So you, other than making kind of gestures, there's not much you can do to communicate to your surgeon, and so receiving feedback is really important, and I'm going to make sure I do that with my patients from now on. The other thing I noticed is that the incisions are really small, and so I tell people, don't worry about it, just don't eat chips or things like that, or a big steak sandwich after the operation. Realistically, when you're done, it's kind of scary. Even though these stitches are there's only 3 stitches per side and the incision's only this long, it does feel like a major wound. I mean, every time you talk, every time you feel the sides of your mouth or your tongue, I mean, you're feeling an incision right there, and it's frankly numb below it, so you kind of can't feel below it. It feels like there's like a foreign substance. And when you talk, and the sides of your cheeks are numb, sometimes it feels like air is flapping. So these are things that I never knew existed with buccal fat pad removal. I thought it was just a tiny incision, don't worry about it, in 5 days it'll heal up, you'll be good to go. But the truth is, it does really impact your life for a week in terms of function. When you eat things, it's not as easy. When you drink things, you get scared that fluid's gonna get inside the incision. These are, again, considerations that I never thought about. Fortunately, despite myself being, I ate a normal diet, my stitches are still intact and everything is still, holding up nicely. Some of my patients, some of their stitches do come out early, and I've never had to re-sew it up or anything like that. But I sort of minimize, don't worry about it, it's the inside of the mouth, it'll heal quickly. But the truth is, from a patient perspective, it does have a pretty significant impact on your quality of life. Now, that's quality of life. The other thing I want to talk about is appearance. I said before, I was kind of hidden behind the scenes. I went to Big Bear this weekend and sort of hid from everybody because I didn't want anybody to see the way I looked. I looked kind of hideous for the first 4 days. Again, that's because I think a couple things. My operation, the feedback I got from my surgeon is that my operation was a lot harder than the average operation, and only 1 cc of fat came out of my left side and only 2 cc's came out of my right, despite about 25 cc's of injected anesthesia. So the net volume increase was greater than I think may happen in other cases. However, now at day 5, I'm starting to look a little bit more normal. I certainly still have jowls, you can see it. I look a lot heavier, but the reason I look heavier, I've discovered with 3D imaging, is because the fluid is not accumulating here as much as we think, but it's actually accumulating in the neck. So everywhere I look, I've lost my jawline. I feel ugly, frankly. I feel like I look different. I feel like I'm an advanced age version of myself. And again, all of these things, despite a successful outcome, really do have an impact on one's psyche. These are the tips that I learned from being a buccal fat pad patient myself. Now, this is not my final result, and I will update you as my result evolves. Thanks so much. Have a great day.